Okay. Got it. Hey, we've got 10 people in the waiting room already, Peter.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and let them in?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Trash Talk number 18. The last Trash Talk before Tandy Assembly, which is in about 2 weeks' time. My name's Ian Maverick. I'm coming to you from, I would like to say sunny Melbourne, Australia, but it's rather overcast today. So we've got 2 hours to discuss all things Tandy. Probably steer the conversation a fair bit towards the upcoming Tandy Assembly event. If everyone could just be aware that they could set their mobile phones to silent and refrain from swearing. Even though I'm the chief culprit of swearing on here, it's not a good look. We'll try
I'll just mute.
Yeah, you should hear me when I'm working or driving. All right. The usual format will continue as previous ones. I'll go around each person. You can tell us what you've been up to, or if you've been up to nothing, just say you've been up to nothing, and I'll move on to the next person. I would like to just talk a little bit about Tandy Assembly. Obviously, I'm not going this year due to lockdown, and I would imagine that it's going to be a USA only affair this year, even though there's quite a number of international people who come into Tandy Assembly each year from Canada, and a few from Europe, and at least one from Australia. But I hope it's going to be a good event and has a good number of people. I like to think of it as not to look badly if it has a markedly reduced number of people. It'll bounce back next year. I'm sure of that. Still wish I could be there. So anyway, let's see. I'm gonna point to George. How you going, mate? George, you're muted.
Your audio cut out just when you said George.
Always the way. What have you been up to, buddy?
Well, there's a new version of TRS-80 GP released just at the start of September there, so that's fun. I also did something recently with ZMAC, which programmers might find useful, is that the BDS output, which is what you use if you want to see source code in TRS-80 GP, now includes memory protection directives. And so what it does automatically for you is any of the instructions in your program are marked as execute only. And all of the data is executed as read write only, not execute. So what this means that if you do something like, say, forget to put a return at the end of a function and it runs into the data, then TRS-80 GP will automatically stop and sort of say, oh, that's a memory fault. You've made some kind of mistake. And similarly, if your code goes crazy, and mine never does this, I should point out, but if your code goes crazy and starts writing over the instructions, you'll also get a memory fault saying, hey, you're not allowed to write into that memory. So it hopefully makes assembly language programming a little bit safer, and is at least another tool you can apply if you're having trouble wondering why your program is crashing.
So your idea for that just came up out of nowhere, or you were sick of it crashing into the data?
Yeah, theory, completely theoretical idea I had that some of my programs might do this sometimes, and it might be very confusing, and it might take me a long time to figure out a very stupid mistake. And under that theoretical circumstance, it could be useful.
Sometimes I think Z80 programming is just a series of stupid mistakes.
It's the stupid ones are the hardest to find.
It should also be mentioned to George's credit that there are modern debugging tools when you corrupt your heap or you do things like this that set up guards exactly as he's described in the debugger. So basically your debugger catches your bug red-handed. You're like, oh, that's what happened. Otherwise you have no clue, right? Because your program just crashes. So it's very, very cool thing you have done, George.
George only does cool things.
Never dumb things. Never.
Cool. I guess like me, you're going to be watching any YouTube videos of Tandy Assembly or live stream that does or doesn't get put up, rather than being there in person.
Yeah, unfortunately so. I sort of wish I could be there. I guess we could if we wanted to, because you can fly in but not drive in, but it's just sort of too complicated and weird to get over the hump.
You wouldn't want to drive anyway. I'm looking at a map. It's a heck of a drive.
Damn it.
36 hours.
Yeah. I like a road trip, but 36 hours is a joke. Gone too far. But so even if you were to theoretically be able to fly there, does that mean that you have to serve some kind of lockdown at home once you return to your home, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think it varies if you're vaccinated or not and things like that. But I think there's still some kind of quarantine. I think if you're vaccinated, it's sort of on, you can do it at home and it's sort of on your honor system. But I think there's still tests and stuff that would have to be done.
Yeah, they're hashing out a plan for a similar thing here, but they're still not letting us leave till December 18. So it kind of, I miss both TA and the Color Computer Fest. So it bring on 2022 as far as I'm concerned. All right, thanks for that, George. Good on you. Peter Bartlett, what have you done to your hand?
Ouch.
Were you cutting the lawn?
It's a long story, but I have
We have 2 hours.
I have what's called Viking disease.
Okay.
Otherwise known as Dupuytren's contracture, and I don't recommend it.
Like all diseases, they're probably best avoided.
Yeah, you basically have to be a Viking to get it, and most people think it contracts the tendons. It does not. It's something called the palmar fascia, which is below the skin but above the tendons, and it contracts. And well, you know, the consolation is that at least you know you're a Viking.
Okay, well, it's I don't know what to say about that. How long before you get to take the band off?
The only cures for it, you know, and they're not really cures, are either this stuff called Xiaflex, which dissolves the palmar fascia and then they yank your finger straight, or surgery. So I've had both at this point. So it hasn't been pleasant. Let's just say that.
You must slow down your typing.
Not really. I got a few other fingers that work.
Hey, Peter, you going to Tandy Assembly?
I hope so. Because you know, Malcolm and I put on a pretty good table.
Yeah, that's true. When say you were going, let's say you were going to be there, which it sounds like you will be. What's going to be on your tables this year? You can speak for you and Malcolm.
You know, I'm flying. You know, I wanted so badly to drive so I could put all kinds of stuff in my trunk. You know, computers and devices and stuff. But you know, in the end, it's just too far from Colorado. So I'm flying. So Malcolm's going to have to bring all the equipment. You know, I'll bring a couple Mises, a couple Mises, a couple Myers, and my prototypes, which I wish were more well done than they are. But they work great. And, you know, I'm really, you know, unhappy that the Canadians cannot be there, that the Australians can, like yourself, cannot be there. That's going to take away so much from it.
Yeah, it was it will bounce back next year. I like to think of this year as being Tandy Assembly light, in that it's going to feel smaller. It probably will have fewer people, but not to lose sight of the goal that once international travel returns and things are a bit better next year.
And that's one of the reasons why I still want to go, despite my personal issues, is that we got to keep this thing going.
Yeah.
It's going to be a smaller scale this year for sure. So we're currently anticipating probably about half the typical attendance, half the exhibitors.
Peter Satinsky looks like he's like swimming in a dark lake or something. What the hell's
So here's the story. I moved off the grid, right? Because I don't trust the government.
He drinks lake water.
The fact that we can see your face would suggest otherwise.
I really dig the mood lighting, Pete.
All
It's great.
right, what actually happened is I was at a family gathering with my wife and family, and I left early to get home to prepare for the show. And unfortunately, my wife has the keys to the house, so I'm sitting on my back porch, locked out of my house.
You're not kidding.
Lucky it's not the middle of winter, because I know the middle of winter in New York can be a bit rubbish to sit out on the back porch.
Well, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
So that's my story. She'll be home soon, but I don't know when.
All right. Thanks for that, Peter. I'll look forward to seeing any photos that get taken from the Tandy Assembly, and those of us outside of the US probably be watching intently for any YouTube or streaming that gets put up by anyone.
We'll do the best we can.
That's all we ever do. All right. Thanks for that. Paul Burrell. G'day, mate. Say that again.
Sounds like a chipmunk.
That audio. Sounds like it.
I saw this in a Star Trek episode once.
Yeah, me too.
Wink of an eye. Wink of an
Don't
eye.
drink the water.
But poor Paul, he doesn't have Dila to look at.
You've got too much helium. You got too much helium in your room, Paul. I'm going to come back to you after you sort out your issue. Okay. Anyone ever do that thing with helium balloons?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right. Vernon, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Tell me you're going to Tandy Assembly.
Beg your pardon?
Tell me you're going to Tandy Assembly.
Not planning on going.
Ah, it's all right. Come next year. I'll meet up with you then.
I'll definitely come next year. The virus is just going rampant, and it hasn't slowed down yet.
Are you double vaxxed?
Yep.
I'm double vaxxed. In fact, they're talking about boosters here already. So I don't know. Maybe by the time next year's comes around, I'll be quadruple vaxxed. I won't even want to even look at me, let alone enter my respiratory system.
Yeah, but having the vaccine won't prevent you from getting it. It'll just help prevent you from dying from it.
Yeah, I don't really care what it does as long as it allows me to travel.
It lowers the odds. Hey, Mav, you need to work on your Jedi way. You will go to Tandy Assembly.
Yeah, I'm not very pushy. I'm the world's worst salesman, unfortunately. The fact that I managed to run a successful business surprises me sometimes. But yeah, I'm not very good at convincing people who are not already convinced. But anyway, back to Vernon. What have you been working on? Anything or just chilling?
I've been still trying to document my source code, the stuff that was blank, no comments whatsoever, figured out what's going on. And I have
because at the time you wrote it, you said, "Oh, I know what this is. I don't need to."
Well, some of the stuff I wrote 40 years ago with the old Model 1 48K of RAM, the NOSIM that the Microsoft 1.1 or 1.0, I forgot which one, there just wasn't enough room to put comments in.
Well, that's true. When you, yeah. And some people wrote successful stuff on a 16K cassette Model 1 with assembler 1.1.
The other thing that don't know how to say this exactly, I don't want to be the sole custodian of my source code. I'd like to have other people have access to it, but I don't know how to go about doing that.
Yes, please.
I'm sure Ira could host that for you or something. It's probably have a word with him. Once you whip it into shape with comments and things, it's probably as reliable and long-lasting repository as any place I can think of, and easy to find because it's TRS-80.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Good to hear from you. Thanks for joining us. John.
Hey everybody. Haven't
Cool
been
skirt.
working-
Where'd you get it?
Somebody on the Discord was like, "Hey, look at these shirts I found," and I was like, "Ooh, I want that." So, I ordered it.
But where's it from? Because
I'd have to go look. I ordered it online. As soon as somebody posted the link, I clicked on it and ordered it. If you want, I can go look it up and see if I can, post the link in the chat or whatever.
yeah, I wouldn't mind one. I mean, we called the place Tandy Electronics here. That's who Aaron was employed by, Tandy Electronics.
Yeah.
But in your land, it's called Radio Shack. I don't know if it was even officially referred to as Tandy Electronics for a
No.
at any point in time. So I'm wondering if the shirts have come from Australia or
No, I don't
possibly
think
the
so. I
UK.
think somebody just saw the logo somewhere and decided to make T-shirts. Ken, was anything in the U.S. called Tandy Electronics? Because I sure don't.
Yeah. Some of the factory stuff was. I mean, it was a division of Tandy Corporation, just like Radio Shack. So there was Radio Shack and Tandy Electronics, Tandy Wire and Cable, Tandy, antennas, Tandy Antennas, Antenna Craft. So it was just
Tandy
one
washing
of a
machine.
bunch. What?
Tandy washing machine.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
Tandy
why
Elec-
not?
Tandy Electronics.
Tandy Transportation.
Tandy Electronics was also known in Canada.
Okay.
Wire and cable too, right?
Wire and Cable.
Yeah.
And Tandy
Anyways.
has the speaker manufacturer.
So,
Tandy
so I
logo.
was excited when I finally got the T-shirt in the mail, and it was like I'd kind of forgotten that I'd ordered it. It's just one of those things that lags on
I
long
love
enough,
that.
you kind of forget about it, and then you're like, "What's this?" Oh,
That's one of the best things about getting older. It's like Christmas every week.
I remember ordering
You
this.
sent me this.
Well, every store in Australia, Tandy store, had one of those in an illuminated box hung out the front of on the store awning.
Might I interject a comment? Pete Sasinski looks like he's in a horror movie about to get murdered or something.
I'm watching bats fly around.
Can't you hear the banjos?
Well,
He's bitten by mosquitoes, Peter.
all he needs is that chair
Yeah.
from Knives Out. It would be perfect.
What else have you been up to, John?
Oh, mainly getting ready for TA. I put my, writing my outline for my talk off and kept putting it off. And it's like, okay, I got to actually sit down and do this, or I'll have no idea what to say when I get there. And prior to that was just making sure I got all the keyboard adapters built that I'm going to bring. So got that done finally and got them all tested. And I don't actually have my 16B here. So I had to use the logic analyzer to make sure all the outputs were doing what they were supposed to. Thanks to Ken for helping me get that set up, by the way. That was awesome. Seeing all the right waveforms and all that. So Yeah, slowly getting ready for TA. Man, I need a vacation bad, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, yeah, every time it finishes for me, the first thing I do when I get home is think, geez, I need a bloody holiday now.
Yeah, right. But I need to get out of the house, right? I mean, I want to be somewhere not here. So,
Yeah. So what does your table mainly consist of?
oh, I don't have a table. I just, I'm giving the talk, and anybody that wants, a keyboard adapter, I figured I could find somebody with a 16 on their table and, demo it that way. So
You slot a half table in for John, Peter?
Yeah, you can put some stuff on my table. I'll have room.
I'm sure there'll be the same number of tables, just spread out a little bit further if required.
Yeah. Hey,
Peter,
Matt,
if you don't make it, can I have your table?
I'm stepping aside for a minute because my wife showed up. I'm gonna get on.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, this
Cool.
is totally not horror movie stuff.
No, not at all. Eddie's not alone.
I mean, it looks like he's lurching back.
Oh no, look, he's gone.
The Blair Witch Project kind of stuff.
Yep.
We'll do some post-production and put a little circle on the screen and stuff for him, and
Enlarging the bats.
little knife,
Yeah, it's
What,
not creepy.
Peter, you didn't see that while you were.
This is not creepy at all.
No, he just realized it's not his wife. It's Chucky.
All right, guys, let's keep on target. So John, were you there last time, 2019? I can't remember. I know I was. I don't remember much of it. Just 2 years ago.
TA, no, this will be my first.
Okay, right.
So I'm excited about that too. I just want to kind of see what the whole thing's like. And
All right.
never been to
Yes,
Springfield.
I thought it would be bigger. Just no.
Oh, that's kind of my fault. Everybody found out I was coming, right? Like, whoa, I'm not going.
Yes, we all think like that. All right.
I
Thanks,
am
John.
looking forward to the pre-trip to the Air Force Museum. That'll be.
I like to that thing. Well, I think we go every couple of years, don't we, Eric? That's you going this year again?
I think that was the consensus. Who's
Yeah.
going to be there early to go? Hands up.
Be the Thursday night.
Thursday's usually the
Yeah.
Come on, Paul Burrell, you can do it.
yeah. No.
I'm trying. It's 50-50 right now whether or not I get to go. So
Just tell us who we need to Jedi wave. All needs to go.
yeah, I've been working on that. So I was in at work all day today to try to make sure I get to go. So
That'll be awesome.
All right, John. Good for that.
About it for me.
I'll look forward to seeing pictures from everyone from the thing, because that's all I got. Okay. Thanks for that. Right. Peter Phillips.
You can hear me here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to demo a feature that's in the latest release of the TRS-80 GP emulator. Let's see if we can share the screen here. All right. So, I gotta move stuff around.
That's pretty cool.
What I added was a screen to show you a summary of what a disk image looks like. I occasionally get disk images and they don't work, and I don't really have any good tools for looking at them. So here we've got a Model 1 running Tristos 2.3. You can bring up the disk viewer. So I've had this for a while, which shows you the sector data. So here's track 0, side 0, sector 0, the boot sector. And a little bit of digression here is that before I wrote the actual emulator, I kind of thought of floppies as they're just an array of sectors and tracks, but it's a lot more complicated than that. The IDAM and sector view gives you a little bit more information here that a sector is built up of two pieces. There's a an index mark, and then there's a data mark, and then the actual data. And then there's checksums for each of these, so that you can have a lot of, I guess, you can have errors. You can have an error in the data, or you can have an error in the header. And also that the head and cylinder, or the head and the sector ID don't have to logically make sense. They usually do. Just to give you a taste of it, there was also a track dump. And the track dump shows you that, in fact, that a track starts with a little bit of header garbage. It's not data. Then you've got the data mark. And this indicates that there's 17 bytes of data between the index mark and then the actual data mark. But that's not the new feature. The new feature is the ability to show the actual summary of the disk. So it tells you how many sides and tracks there are physically. And it says that each sector in this one is FM encoded, that's single density, and the sector size is 256 bytes in hex. And so there's a little legend at the bottom which says, okay, an asterisk means there's a valid sector there. And the /D is shorthand for saying that the data mark is set. As some people might be aware that with Tristos for the Model 1, the directory sector, which is 17, uses data marks just to make it, I'm not sure why they did that, a little bit of error checking or something, but it causes endless problems. So, and the sectors here, there's 10 per track, and then their IDs go from 0 to 9. And I actually sort them in order here. In the actual disk, they may be in interleave, so it might go 0, 3, 6, or something. So that's what a normal diskette looks like, and it really does look like in a simple array of blocks. And then you get something like, I've got a second disk here. Now this is this is an adventure I got, the Sledge of Ramul, and it's actually a dual booting disk. So what you see here is that it's still FM regular sector size, but track 0 only has 2 sectors, then one at 0, one with ID 0, and then the second one with ID 1 is actually double density encoded, because this is a dual booting diskette. So the Model 3 or 4 will read this block to boot. And then the rest of the data on the diskette is all FM encoded so that the Model 1 and 3 can read it. And you can also see that tracks 16 and 17 in hex are blank. There's no actual valid sectors there. I think they're just blank tracks. There's no sectors at all. And
I assume that's for copy protection.
It makes it difficult to copy, but I think primarily it's also just that this one diskette can be given to Model 1 or Model 3 owners. And there's no need to know that once it boots into DOS, you're supposed to type the name of the game. It's simply going to start. And this third disk here, this is an example of one that has more serious copy protection. This is Microsoft's version of the original Adventure, which they released in a disk form. So what happens here is that it looks a bit like a normal disk, but it's got a different marking. Instead of the sectors going from 0 to 10, they go from 0 and then 6F, 71, 73, all the way up to 7F. So the IDs are different. Track 0, all the sectors on this track are still marked as being on track 0, but the other ones have kind of somewhat random track marking. So if you read the first sector on track 1, this little equal says that all of these ones are marked as being on track 7F, which doesn't exist. And that is to make it hard to copy. And that's what the legend adds, that, okay, this is the track ID in hex. It still looks pretty regular. And then you get another diskette, I guess the final one here. This is Cosmic Fighter. It's another dual booting diskette. This one actually functions properly, but it looks a little bit strange. So what you see here are some new markings here that there's a case where that there's a CRC error in one of the sectors here, or several of them seem to have CRC errors. And there's a lot of MFM encoded stuff, and then there's a lot of the default is a single density encoding, but the sector size is 512 bytes, which is unusual. And then on track 4, you can even see that there's a 1K sector here, and then a regular 256 byte sector. Well, the notation is all kind of terse, just so that it fits in one screen. And what's actually going on here is that track 0 is set up so that this is a dual boot diskette, so that there's a double density sector ID 1 that the Model 3 will read. And I think what happened here is that, I don't know how, but maybe this data, this dual booting diskette was put on top of an ordinary Model 3 diskette. So the Model 3, I guess, I don't know, going up to 18 sectors. I think that's right. So this is just like leftover data from the, maybe a copy of a Model 3 formatted disk that, as far as the game is concerned, this track is blank, and it's acquired a few CRC errors along the way. And there's no sector 0 here because the Model 3 normally identifies its sectors starting at 1. And yeah, and then the rest of the diskette. I guess we only go up to 22. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. 35 sectors. But the Model 3 could have 40 sectors per track. So it just allows you to get an idea of if the diskette looks normal, and or are there actually any CRC errors on the diskette or anything unusual. And yeah, that's it. But that should be available in the latest version.
Do you think the CRC errors are on purpose as part of the copy protection?
Not in this case. In this case, I'm pretty sure the CRC errors are just incidental. I don't think the game is going to read any of those FM track or any of the double density MFM tracks. They're just, I think it just happened to be however this diskette image came into being.
Yeah, I don't think the FTC controllers would actually give you the data from a track with a CRC error. That you won't get the data.
Yeah, there's two different kinds. I mean, if the data block has a CRC, then you'll read the data and it'll tell you it's a CRC error. If the index block has a CRC error, normally
it'll skip it.
It'll be invisible unless you use the read adder command. If you use a read adder to read the next mark, then it will give you the data and tell you that it's a CRC error. But it's pretty much invisible for normal operations. But I think it's possible. And you're also right that most of the disk formats, I don't think they can represent that. DMK can, but JV3 or IMD, I don't think they can represent an index mark in isolation that has a CRC error.
You know, DMK can obviously because it includes the CRC, but still.
Yeah.
A real TRS-80 can't actually see it. Because
an IMD, sorry, Peter.
The controller just, if it sees the CRC, it pretends it didn't happen.
An IMD can show the error in the IDAM, just it calls it an ID error.
Cool. Okay. Thanks for that, Peter. I guess like your brother, you're not going to Tandy Assembly.
No, can't make it.
It's always next year. Okay. Moving right along. Malcolm, welcome. Is this the first time?
Malcolm here?
Long time listener, first time caller?
Yeah, Pete Bartlett.
All right.
There he is. Hey, Malcolm.
I am.
We were just talking to Peter before about you guys' table at Tandy Assembly in 2 weeks. So go for it. Tell me.
Yeah. I've been pulling out computers to make sure they're working, ready for his
Very
display.
important.
And then I just got back from VCF displaying there. So I'm a little behind. I'm not sure what my Tandy assembly table is going to hold for me, but for Pete, I'll have a Model 1, a 4D, and a Model 3 with high res as well for him to use.
You know, Malcolm, what I'm gonna miss, you and I and Neil Blanchard, or AKA Neil McCormick, used to just, have this crew. We'd go out to these burger places and, we were a crew, but, the Canadians can't come, the Australians can't come, but, we're going to do the best we can.
Well, Neil is, I'm in his shipping depot, and so I've been unable to deliver to him for almost 2 years now. So I have a 8x10 storage area that's like half Neil's stuff that I need to get to Canada. It's quite a bit built up down here over the years.
I'm driving that over the border and explaining to customs, what's this moving van full of computer crap?
Well, when I went to Chicago, I considered going on up and going up early and driving because I can cross the border that direction, but decided against it because it's quite a bit of stuff to explain away.
Yeah. It's a shame I'm not going to get to catch up with you this year, Malcolm, maybe next year.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit of archiving. I need to, especially for the Tandy 2000, I need to do an update on the tandy2000.com. And then book scanner I was using it. A friend of mine's printing place died, so I picked up a new book scanner. So I've been practicing on the Tandy 600 service manual. I don't like to cut the binding off to scan the manual, so the auto correcting of the curvature, I've been practicing with that, trying to save the manuals and scan them both. So it's a learning curve. I picked up a Shine Ultra and Kickstarter a couple of years ago and been practicing with that. So the Tandy 600 service manual will go up as well.
Cool. Sounds like you've been busy.
My biggest thing probably this year. I married 2 children off in 11 months. That took a lot of time and money.
Hey Malcolm, where does the M2 SE stand?
Well, I did have it sitting here on this 6000, but it's not at the moment. I moved it over to another area, so it's yeah. I don't have it booting yet.
Yeah,
I'd like to get it booting.
He's got my Model 3 prototype. He's got my USB prototype, and he's just sitting on his butt.
Oh, I use the USB prototype all the time. He didn't like it, so I took it and you actually used it on the Model 1. So he's worried about corrupt file systems, and I've never corrupted the file system on my Model 1. So I'll probably bring it again to Tandy Assembly so Pete can show it off and maybe turn it into a product. He calls it the dingus. So I got it out this week to bring, and trying to.
It's evil, and I want it to die.
We need more products with names like that. So more of it, I say. Hey, Malcolm, tell us about the VCF compared to pre-pandemic VCS. Was it as good or a little smaller?
Obviously missing the Canadians, but we actually still had the entire venue, even the hallways of the venue. So technically a few more tables than last time, but there were a few empty tables like Neil and other people that couldn't make it across the border. As far as crowd on Saturday, it was really packed. The auction was really good. They auctioned off, I think 97 items. So it was a pretty big auction. They split like they did the last time. Things they didn't think would sell for as much in an auction or were just common things. They set up a table and just put prices on them and sold those items in addition to the auction items. So it took their 300 items down to 100 items in the auction and 200 items that you could buy just walking by a table. And just throughout the day, they went through boxes and put out pieces and put prices on them. And generally, were like $2 or $3, so you could pick up items pretty well.
Yeah. I like auctions, but getting to that sort of 295th or 296th item, it's a a bit of a arduous task at times, particularly with a bit of jet lag thrown in for good measure.
Still took Jason 3 hours for the 97 audit, so there were a lot of bidding. But the
Well,
crowd on Saturday was really good. Very heavy for most of the day. Sunday really died off. It was really light in the morning. In fact, I left about 1 p.m. and we drove back a day early. So it's luckily right before I left, a vendor showed up late with a bunch of stuff for sale, and I picked up the Mikey Angelo and the LX80 expansion interface, the Lobo LX80, along with the Model 1 that he used with it. The only thing, I didn't get the manual with it, but I did get some 8-inch discs that he had been using with the system. So hopefully I can recover some software.
Well, that's good. Good to hear, because I've been, for a few years now, I've been sort of wanting to wet my feet with a to come over to a VCF. So sounds like they're going strong. Might be a good thing to pencil in for next year.
It was interesting this year. They generally give us a good spot because there's not a lot of Radio Shack guys, but this year they kind of made it into pods. So all the Coco TRS-80 guys were all in one pod, one circle, and we're right by the door. So as you walk in, you walk right into our area. But
that's what they always did for us. We were always right in front of the door.
Yeah. So
I don't know why Jason Timmons always did that for us, set us right up in front of the door, but he always did.
Well, you always put the best up front.
Well, that's true. That's very true. All right. Thanks for that, Malcolm. Good on you. Thanks for joining. Paul Burrell, have you fixed the helium problem in your room there?
Does it sound okay? Hopefully it sounds okay.
Where's Theodore and Simon?
Okay. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, perfect. Go for it.
So Bobby and I have been doing a bunch of testing on the RAM and the MMU card stuff. And if everybody's been following on the Xenix group side, it looks like things are going very well there. The goal has been to have it work on any version of the 68K board, including the long and the shorts. We've got a couple little issues that we're still trying to do on a couple of mixes that aren't quite perfect, but so far 6 shorts, 8 shorts seem to work well. The MMU works on both of those. The 4-bit MMU. I have a 3-bit MMU that Bobby's getting ready to start testing as well. It's a different design and a lot smaller than the Tandy one. So
you mean 2-bit and 3-bit, right?
What?
You said 4-bit. I'm like,
did I say 4? I meant 3-bit. So to go up to the
you
full
weren't
8-bit.
supposed to talk about that, Paul. Secret.
Is there a 4-bit one? Yeah.
No, we were just kidding. Forget about that.
We'll be bugging you about it now.
Oh, actually, there is an extra address line. The question is, I don't know if the operating system, and that may be something to John. Does the operating system differentiate supervisor space from user space using the A23 or not?
no. A22, at least in early versions of the 68K, it pretty much stopped it. You could put, you could put a bit in there to, when you stored addresses and stuff, obviously, but the hardware couldn't use it. And the other problem is that right at 7.5 meg, we have the hardware, the hardware IO, memory mapped control ports for the MMU and the interrupt controller. So that's why you can't have the full 8 meg.
Right. Well, I can create a hole around that if we can get the operating system to support A23. So that's an option for people who want more. So adding the extra address bit would not be go to address bit for add a 4-bit addressing would be
I'm not convinced that early 68K chips will do A23.
Okay.
That was part of why I only made the design in the MMU just 3 bits, because I looked at the spec sheets that I had at the time, and it's like, oh, okay, it stops here, right? So
Yeah, that's why I asked about the supervisor versus user. It's been a long time since I looked into it in that detail, but I thought that there was something that you could only do user space code in the bottom 8 meg, and you could do supervisor in the full 16. So, you know, that's what's the point of having an MMU in the upper 8 meg if you can't use it? So,
right.
The community is going to be very happy with 7.5 megs for a long time.
Okay.
I think we'll be good.
So anyway, I've got several of those built up. If I make it to Tandy assembly, there'll be some available. You know, the one thing we're trying to make sure of is, you know, I wanted to make sure they worked on a variety of cards. And right now, I think Bobby's got 7 cards set up. I've got 4 or 5. And like I said, we're having some really quirky issues with the 6 longs. But I think most of the people that want the extra memory in the MMU both have 6 shorts and 6 shorts and 8 shorts. So, you know, we don't expect any issues there. So that's about all that's been going on that front. So I've got a couple other projects I've been working on in the background. Hope to talk about them a little later. So, but that's about it.
Cool. Thanks for that, Paul. Hope you can make it. Patrick Bureau.
President
How you going,
accounted
mate?
for.
Hey, mate. How you going?
President accounted for.
You ready for the big drive up north?
No, I'm not going.
I'm not going.
No. You know, with what's gone through the last few months, we've been restructuring the house and all that stuff.
Understandable.
I'm only getting back into TRS-80s in the last 2 weeks or so. My shed is currently what you see in the background is I'm not in the shed, but what normally is my work shed is currently occupied with 7 cats that I'm fostering for another week. Baby kittens were found under the house, and so I'm not. I tried, but it's really hard to work on something when kittens are climbing your legs. If anybody wants to see the pictures, I've got them. It's hilarious. 6 cats dangling off your jeans is a tough thing to do to maneuver.
Those were awesome pictures.
So yeah, I'm getting back. I've got 2 projects going on at the finishing up the Tandy 1000, and I've got those drives that came from IRA from Lance Wolfstrup. Sorry if I massacre his name. I'm waiting for a device. Now Joel said he was sending me one, and I've got somebody else to read the drive and image them before I touch them. Because, you know, with the TRS, if you don't have the floppy that booted that particular drive, you can screw up the partition, lose the data off of it. So we're going to try to image the drive before I touch and try to mess around with them and not lose the data off of that. They might be something interesting to look at. So that's it for me.
Cool. Oh, I hope to see you next year. I'm going to be there next year.
I hope so, yeah.
And it is fun having kittens around. So when they get to that age where they want to bite you, but they don't have the strength, that's always pretty funny.
Not good for immaculate paint jobs.
Yeah, no, that's true. Oh, good on you, Patrick. Take care. Nick Marentes, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Hi, how are you?
Another Aussie. For people who don't know, Nick writes Cocoa software for the Cocoa 3.
Yeah. So, am I on now, or do you want me?
You are on.
Oh.
You have the microphone. Go for it, buddy.
All right. Well, as Ian said, I am a old time, I guess, TRS-80 programmer. My first computer was a TRS-80 Model 1 that I got way back in 1980. And back in the day, I was still in high school, and I developed a few programs. I had this inclination to write games that I would sell. And my motivation was seeing other games from people or companies like Big Five. I was very much inspired by the quality of the games coming out from Big Five and several other producers back in the day. And over the following 3-4 years, I developed a few games for the Model 1, which I guess not many people know about because I was only a kid back then, so I didn't really know how to market it. But I had games like Neutroid, The Gladiator, Donut Dilemma, and Escape Zone. So I don't know if any of you have seen that. I think they are available on the archives. After the Model 1, I moved on to the color computer. And in particular, I fell in love with the Color Computer 3. That was when the Color Computer 3 came out in 1986. And I'm still programming it today. So 40 years later, I'm still stuck on the Color Computer 3. And every now, I mean, I've had other things. I've had a real job and all that in that time. But as a hobby, I've always been creating games for the Color Computer 3. But what I've been doing, I'm currently working on a game right now for the Color Computer 3. But as a laugh, and because I've got no brains, I decided I had this bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it, but a flashback of the old Model 1. And I thought, well, I wouldn't mind writing an old Model 1 game again, just like the good old days. And I wasn't sure whether I could do it because I've been using a 6809 on the color computer for so many years, and I love the 6809. It's a great CPU. And I thought, I don't know if I can remember Z80. It's completely, well, pretty different. It takes a while to get used to it. So I set up, I think I got Matthew, whatever his name is, the emulator. I set up my Model 1 from back in the day. I still had it, and it still works. So that got me interested, and I started programming a game for the Model 1. So I'm doing 2 games at once. I'm doing the Color Computer 1 and this TRS-80 one at the same time, each with a different CPU, different I/O. So the question begs, is he crazy? So yes. So what I'm going to show you today is what I've done so far on the Model 1 game. It's unfinished, but it's a game, an arcade game in the style of what I used to do back then, called what do I call it? I've got a million things going. Hang on, I'm just going to try share the screen.
Excited.
Gem Hunter, by the way. Okay, is that sharing now?
Yes. Yep.
It is? So it's a new DOS screen you're looking at?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I'll just load up the game, if it doesn't crash on me. So there's 2 sections at the moment. So the game's written in Z80 machine code, and that's it there, Gem Hunter by some idiot from down under. Done the title page very, well, Big 5 stylish.
All right, let's get on with it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll just jump into what I've done. I mean, you can't play the full game yet, but just to give you an idea what it does.
Get ready.
Get ready, idiot. I'll just pause it there. I'll try pause it there. Basically, you are a gem hunter and you are falling down essentially a volcano, down the throat of a volcano, of which there are lots of gems that you've got to catch on the way down. So the effect you see and I'll probably stop it so you can see it properly. I'll just bail out of that and start it again. Oops, no, not really much of a score to talk about.
Sounds to me
As
you
a
need
gem-
to finish this
gem
before
hunter,
the
I
end of the
probably
year
would
so you
not
can
do this.
participate.
Oops, no. Oh yeah, just got it. So you have to go into these platforms, get these gems, and then fall down to the next platform, basically catching the gems. And of course, oh, here we go. But don't let your character fall off the bottom of the screen or off the top. So, and it's totally random. So you don't know what platforms are going to appear, what gems are going to appear, because there's four
In a
different
way,
gems.
in a way, it's like Farfall for the Coco.
Yes, yes. Well, I'll just pause. Farfall is based on a game on the Atari called Going Down or something for the Atari 2600. So that's what this is. This is also based on the Atari 2600 game of Falling Down. I think it's called. It's been copied to just about everything nowadays anyway. So this is the TRS-80 version, and the effect on the side is you going down a tunnel. So at the moment you can't collect the gems. That's going to be the next thing I have to tackle. But for now, you've got to just survive going down all the platforms. And of course, you don't know what's going to appear. And sometimes you've got to do a leap of faith and just jump and hope that by the time you get to the bottom, a platform will appear. So that's all that's working at the moment.
You know what? It's a great effort.
You need to enter this in the competition for TRS 80-bit thing by the end of the year.
Well, I could do, but I've always written I actually sell these as a commercial package. All my color computer stuff has always been a commercial package. So there is an actual proper box and everything that I've done in the past. So I thought I'll do the same with this and make it a commercial package, similar to, I guess, what Peter did with his game. You know, he's got a fairly, classic original style packaging on his latest game. So I thought, well, I wonder if there's much of a games market for the Model 1. And that's why I decided I might as well just give it a try and find out. So it's coming along. I'll just break out of that and just go back to the title page. I haven't got any sound effects in as yet.
I love it. We're reinvigorating the TRS-80 package game industry. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I've been wanting to do something back on the Model 1 for a long time, but I figured, well, I don't know if there really is a market, and to put in the amount of effort required to do a commercial grade game, you don't want to, spend, months creating something just to give it away. I've got other things I could do. All my color computer games, I do sell them, and they've been selling quite well on that platform. So this is just trying out the waters, and let's see if there's something for the old Model 1. So with a bit of luck, there is a bit of a market there. We don't have as many gameplays, I guess, on the Model 1 nowadays like we used to. But
you'd be surprised.
Sorry?
You'd be surprised.
Well, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I want to be proven wrong. So, but back in the day, when I got the Model 1, it was a big game platform. I remember all the Big Five software and all the Adventure International games. It was really good. And that's what got me interested back then in writing games. So it would be great for those years to come back.
Nick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to give me exact numbers, but what does a typical Coco game, what sort of numbers would you sell today?
Well, over 100.
Over 100.
So it's not up to the level of Commodore 64 games. It's still a small market. but it's growing all the time. So, I do get, over 100 sales at least. So I don't know. I don't think this would achieve that, but oh well. And
Well-
hence why I'm doing 2 projects at a time. I've got the other game for the color computer, which is a more major game, and this one I do in between. Just when I'm going crazy looking at machine language and debugging on one platform, I just say, okay, I'll take a break. I'll go to my other project, and that'll get my mind off it. It sort of keeps the enthusiasm going.
I mean, if my experience is any barometer, it'd probably be about half that, but you also have a history. So, you may sell more titles based upon the fact that you are an actual historical TRS-80 game programmer. But I think the more that programmers do this sort of thing and do offer it for a reasonable price, I think it'll become more popular and there will be more people buying them.
Yeah, and I do try to sell them at a low price. I mean, I don't charge much. And on the color computer, for example, most of my games you can buy as a download for about $10. So they are fairly cheap for people who don't want to spend too much, but want to either get the games or even just support the programmer. $10 is a low price to pay. But I do have a boxed version, which the software comes on a CD because it's so hard to find floppy disks nowadays. So I put it on a CD, and it's in a CD case, and I've got artwork, and I've got color artwork and instruction books and all that. And sometimes I even just bundle extra things on the CD as well. So it just makes it more value for money. And I usually sell those for $20 US. There are quite a few people in the color computer community rather. There's some people collect them. They like to collect, so they want to see a colored box. So I provide that. But if you just want the game and you just want to support the programmer, you can. I will be offering a downloadable version for $10. Basically, just to say, yep, I appreciated your work. Do it again, which is the mentality I've had for a long time when I first started programming, and then people would actually support the work. So it makes you want to come back and do another game, and that's why I'm still doing it today, because I have been lucky enough to sell most of the games I do. When I say sell, I mean I'm not rich or anything, don't give up your day job, that's for sure. But it makes all that hard work worthwhile. You don't want to spend so many months trying to create a really polished product for nothing as such. I mean, it's very easy to just do a normal basic game, but to give it the polish takes a bit more effort.
Well,
so it's good to have that support from the users.
It's appreciated.
Yeah. When you're doing something that is being appreciated, then you are inclined to do more and even better next time. And that's what I've seen in my color computer stuff. Over the years, every game I do is better than the last, because and I'm selling more with every program because people are appreciating the work. So I feel that it's worth putting in the extra effort, and it gives new software for our retro computers. Keeps me off the street.
Absolutely amazing to be able to get new software for hardware this old.
Well, that's right. And I've always had a deep love for the old Model 1. That's my first computer, and like I said before, I still do have it, and I've set it all up thinking, oh yeah, I wonder what's broken, and it worked. First pop out of the box, 40 years later, power it up, and it's all working fine. So that gave me the incentive to, I want to bring this baby back to life.
Cool. That's awesome, Nick. Thanks for that.
And where can we buy these? I just joined
Well,
late.
it's not finished yet,
Oh, man.
but hopefully it will be finished before the end of the year. It is getting close, and you'll know about it. I have got a website. If you look at, I have a website. If you go to www.nickmarentes, all one word, .com, that'll take you to the front page of my website, and from there it links to all my web pages, which are most of my games. And also I do have a project archive which goes through the entire history of what I've done on the in computers, and that covers the entire Model 1 era as well. So if you go there,
it's actually one of the better and more properly kept up to date sites.
yeah, I've had that for years, and as I do, projects, I just keep adding to it.
Yeah. I forget to keep adding to mine. That's my that's my Achilles heel. But anyway, cool. The last game.
Hey, Ian. We're sort of ignoring the elephant in the room. Can you hear me?
No, you're gonna have to proceed without me.
We're ignoring the elephant in the room,
which is
Satinsky's beard.
Well, it is winter there.
Yeah, I'm growing my coat.
It's
horrible.
horrible.
Say you don't look the same.
Will it disappear at summertime, Peter?
Who knows?
Who knows? All right. Thanks for that, Nick. And let's see. Stuart, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? I don't have too much to say. I'm just looking at Nick's website right now. It's pretty awesome. So, Nick, I'm definitely going to contact you offline. Not too much interesting. Just for interest's sake, I've been reading. You guys probably see these comic books before. Let me see if I blur myself here. But I just found one of these lying around. I've been reading them a little bit over the weekend. Here, hold on. There we go. You guys have seen these before. I'm assuming from a long time ago. Like Radio Shack used to put out these comics. There's probably a million of them floating around, but they're still floating around everywhere, I guess. I just streamed Pirate Adventure by Scott Adams off TRS-80 software exchange tape on Thursday night. That was a lot of fun, getting trolled by Scott. And planning on streaming a bunch more stuff. I picked up a few more TRS-80 games I didn't have the last few days, like Be Wary, which I used to have as a kid by Leo Christopherson. Looking forward to streaming that one. Really fun game, like simple game, but lots of fun. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, keeping streaming stuff, and have Peter Phillips been helping me a lot in terms of getting games to work, which for some reason, even Pirate Adventure, just FYI, like I got a good dump off the tape. It would not work in TRS-32. I have no idea why. Like it loaded, but it was all garbled. But in TRS-80 GP, it worked fine. So it's like always fun with emulators with some of these games, but keeping them going. So that's it for me, Mav.
Thanks, Stuart. Good on you, mate. You going to Tandy Assembly?
Unfortunately not, but maybe next time.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. All right. Dusty, I guess you're not going to Tandy Assembly.
No, I'm afraid not, Mav. No, I shall be there in spirit, if not in person. Yeah.
I won't even be there in spirit. I'll be sleeping probably through most of it. But
well, if there's any live casts, I'll try and catch them if I can. There's a time difference, but I'm pretty sort of chat and manage on a few hours sleep a night, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Can I just thank everybody who sent in contributions to the September TRS 8-bit. Remind you all, the competition closes at Mavs at the end of November. Nick, yours is a good candidate for getting in there. That's brilliant, mate. Well done. Super. I've just acquired, and I'm not a big games fan, but I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? It's from a firm in the UK called Kansas, and they were in competition with the main UK firm, Harding's Mollymerks, as it was called. This is called F for Freddy, and it's it teaches you how to fly a TriStar jet. Right, I've not even took it out the packet yet. It only arrived this morning. So again, I'll see if I can get it going, and I'll put a report in the December issue. One quickie, has anybody heard anything further about the CPM for the Model 100? Either I've missed it or I just haven't heard anything. But other than that, as I say, the Christmas issue will be out early December. If you've got anything you want to contribute, please don't hesitate. Just send it to me, just a few words and photos. We'll try and get a bumper issue to start the end of the 15th year, getting ready for the 16th year. Doesn't seem possible, does it?
Yeah, I know. I better start thinking about what to write. I'll let a little secret out. I completely don't write anything until about 3 days before the deadline, and then I just go on a massive writing bender and write my article. So if anyone thought that I spend a lot of time researching and spending a lot of time getting these things perfected, it's probably close to the opposite.
You're destroying the magic, man. You're destroying the magic.
Oh, well, I'm no magician, put it that way. Hey, Dusty, I got a question. You said some instructions there on how to fly a TriStar. You mean the Lockheed 1011 TriStar?
Yeah. Oh, mate, where'd I put it? Oh,
Because there's a few tri-jets that I can think of. There's the Lockheed, the DC-10, and the 727 are all tri-jets.
I'll just quote, just quoting these really grotty instructions. I mean, they are 40 years old, so it's very faded. But the whole basis being your ability to use the keyboard to control the preparation, takeoff, flight, and landing of a TriStar jet to various destinations. Doesn't say what they are on the blurb, but perhaps if I manage to get it loaded and attempt to run it, we'll get a bit further down the line. But I don't know if we've got any TriStar pilots among us. You might find it interesting, but it leaves me a bit flat, I'm afraid. But it was on eBay, and it was 99 pence, so I just had to buy it,
Oh, we keen to hear about it. I just like tri-jets. You never see them anymore. I used to like flying DC-10, but
TriStar is
might I mention on a related note that the SpaceX capsule just came back to Earth.
Okay, did they all survive?
Apparently.
Well, good. Okay.
3 days in space. They were all civilians. They, the rocket was completely remote controlled. They were told how to drive it if they had to, but they didn't really know how to. But yeah, it came down successfully.
It's a lot of time in space with 4 people in the same room.
Yeah.
the size of a average bathroom.
Yeah.
So,
could get a little stinky.
or just run out of conversation. 3 days sounds good. It's like when I used to visit New York, I used to go for 5 days, and I thought that was a good amount of time. But then one girl I worked with before I gave up my day job, always wanted to go to Manhattan and booked a holiday there for 3 weeks. She sort of said, yeah, about after the first 10 days, I think I'd seen everything I wanted to do. So there's a sweet spot there when vacationing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no fan of Elon Musk, but this stuff is inspirational. It really is.
Yeah, and I like petrol cars, so I don't like Tesla cars either.
Me too. I've got a V8, so
Yeah.
I'm destroying the planet one bit at a time.
I know. I've got two of them and 2 rotaries, which are all gas guzzlers. So I'm doing my bit.
Car's only 8 volts. What's wrong with you?
Okay. Who was that? Dusty. Thanks for that, Dusty. Good on you, mate. Okay. Tim, hi.
Hello.
What have you been up to?
Good to see everyone. I am definitely going to Tandy Assembly. I've been prepping. I'm doing a intro tutorial to assembly language. You will not be able to walk out of that and write stuff like Nick was just demoing, but I'm getting prepped for that. Kind of showing how to use TRS-80 GP, the emulator, and ZMAC to sort of get going on a host computer and really do some development. So we're hoping to get some more people doing things like Nick's writing. So that's good. And thanks, George, for all the feedback. George went way above and beyond and watched about 35 minutes of how to install TRS-80 GP on various platforms, as being the one person on earth who probably didn't need to watch that video, but gave me good feedback. So other than that, I'm getting ready for my table. Which is, I guess if Nick can write a Model 1 game, I'm actually working on powering, this is a Coco 3. So this is a USB-A powered Coco 3. So if you know the Coco, this would be the transformer, and it's gone, and it's got a few little parts. I'm sort of testing this thing out. This one works. This is kind of my second design, but I'm working on a third because I'm not super happy with, there's a little bit of a step down voltage there that is maybe not the best approach, but the board all works on 5 volts, plus or minus 12 for the RS-232. But weirdly on this, and unlike the Coco 2, the tuner uses 8 volts, which is odd. They apparently sourced that somewhere, so there's a little bit of power stuff over here to deal with the 8 volts that I kind of worked around. But I'm going to be showing this off at Tandy Assembly, plus the Coco 2 with the USB that I've had for a long time and been running. So kind of looking forward to it. Couple things for the table, and doing kind of excited to do a little short intro to assembly language on the Z80, which will be lots of fun. Hopefully we'll get some new programmers.
Oh,
cool.
So quick question on the USB side. Is that powered off a USB-C? How are you getting the power level?
It uses, the Coco 3 uses 0.73 amps.
Okay.
That's all it needs.
Okay. Now
and the 2 is right around there. It might be like 0.76 or something.
I thought the spec was half an amp, but maybe there's an extended spec.
Well, okay. I have to up some 5 volts to plus and minus 12, and some other things. Those are probably burning some of it, I suspect. But when I use the little meter on it, it says 0.73, which is like, you know, most of the power strips I see are like 2.5 amps is their recommended, so it's well within the, for you. This is just USB-A.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not rocket science. A real double E could probably figure this out in a couple of weeks if they were willing to go through all the things. But I really did this. For those that don't know the Coco world, I really like my Coco 2 with Coco VGA. It's a lot of fun, but the thing burns so hot on the power supply that it was literally warping the plastic above the transformer and the transistor that brings it down to 5 volts. So that was what sort of got me motivated to.
You see, that was a perfect occasion for you to design water cool system.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a little radiator and a fan.
Yes, that would make it just perfect. So now I have the cool, very, very cool Coco 2 with an already bent plastic thing over where.
Tim, was that a result of running the Coco VGA increased heat?
The Coco VGA is really, the Coco VGA is in it. It works fine with that. In fact, the Brendan Donahue, who designed that, has one of these kits to transform a Coco 2. And that I don't know if he's tried it out. He'll be at he says he's going to be at Tandy Assembly, so I've kept in touch with him. But I'm a big fan of the Coco VGA. It's my favorite little gadget.
There are about to be other options. My prototype has VGA. It has hard drives and Ethernet and all kinds of other stuff, all in one device. Come to our table at
I'll come see it
and take a look.
Yeah.
And then maybe Pete will actually build it.
Yeah.
No. I don't know when to stop is the problem.
Yeah, I think Brendan had a post on his site that they've gotten at least 100 installs of Coco VGA. I've got 2 of them. I have the machine that was signed, the Coco one. I put Coco VGA in from Tandy Assembly 2019, and I have a Coco 2 with it in there as well. They're super nice for just crisp screens on modern monitors.
Yeah, well, Grumpy X over there is trying to make me just release the VGA part of my device.
Well, the advantage is it's cartridge based, so you don't have
you don't have to do all the mods. Although that's not a terrible mod. It's not super hard to do.
Yeah, I have the Coco.
That
It is
one's
nice to just be able to plug a cartridge.
the thing I'm doing with USB power is way worse than Coco VGA. If you actually did it's like you got to wire like 7-8 wires into the motherboard and take stuff out. So it's reversible, but boy, it is definitely far more invasive than Coco VGA.
Yeah, to me, the VGA part of my device is not the important thing. The important thing is the Ethernet. To me, and the hard drives, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Timothy. I can't see you.
Yeah, we'll see you
Ethernet's
next year.
a pretty big damn thing.
Yeah, Pete, just put every damn thing into your Coco thing and release it already.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I don't know where to stop.
They want a real-time clock all the time on Coco, so you can add that.
Yeah, and a wireless Ethernet. And a wireless Ethernet. Ethernet cables are
everything you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Can you make it cook tacos on the side while you're at it?
And lava rand. I went lava rand in there.
You want what?
Lava random number generator. Did you ever see when SGI had that? They actually put it on the website.
All right.
We lost them.
Yep. Moving right along. Any other Coco people here? Eric was here. He's gone now. Oh, yeah. Cool, Peter. Why is it not available?
Because I don't know when to stop.
He doesn't know how to share.
There's no when to stop. All right. Let's see. Quinton, what have you been up to?
Oh, a few things. Still continuing my work on Grease Weasel's GW tool to add error detection and retries while live reading TRS-80 formatted disk. It's coming along a bit slowly. The biggest problem is me and having to learn new Python at every step because I've pretty much had to start at 0 with Python. Curious thing happened a few weeks ago. A real estate agent in a small town near where I lived advertised 2 TRS-80 4Ps for sale. And it's like, I went to their business. They're a real estate agent that used the 4Ps back in the day to run their business on. They had put it in a storage room behind a boiler and forgot about it for 35 years. The boiler broke. They found the 4Ps and brought them out and put them up for sale. I got one of them for $150. The other one went to a local undergrad student who I got his email for, and it was kind of weird. Why would an undergrad student want a TRS-80 4P? Apparently he collects old computer hardware. And so I was like, okay. I thought maybe it'd have a CS or EE degree. It's like, nope, environmental geography. Okay, but he is handy with a soldering iron, does repairs. He's got a bunch of old computer equipment, but now the 4P is his oldest. I should have invited him to this gathering, but forgot. I'll be
should.
meeting up with him for the first time next week to give him some boot discs for his 4P and see how that goes.
And some replacement capacitors for his power supply.
Yes, I will be giving them I'll be giving the set of replacement capacitors as well. But so far, his 4P and my 4P work just fine without having to change capacitors. I've warned him though that if it starts smelling and you see smoke, what's exactly happening? And it probably won't destroy anything, but it can get pretty smelly.
They probably already blew up back in the day before they put them into storage and just running on open ones at the moment, which is perfectly safe unless they want to watch terrestrial television nearby.
Yeah, so I was really surprised that the thing just worked as is. The only thing I had to do was run my my cleaning disk through the drives to bring the parity errors down.
Yeah.
That was it. It's fully operational, running LS-DOS just fine. So, so that was a nice having someone young come into TRS-80s.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Yeah,
they may go crazy about the Commodore 64s.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he is looking for a Tandy 1000 for his collection. So if anyone knows of a 1000 that comes up somewhere, let me know and I'll pass it along to him.
Where are you located, Quentin?
I'm in Champaign, Illinois.
Ah, okay. I'll get in contact with you.
Oh, okay.
Not too long ago, Tandy 1000s were kind of seen as ugly, uncompatible, mostly compatible MS-DOS-ish machines with no value at all. Recently, they've started to overtake the Model 4 on eBay in price. So I suppose that's a good thing in a way. It's going to keep the Tandy name alive a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, they're massive sellers back in the day, and I think lately there's been a lot of like King's Quest nostalgia. That may be something to do with it, because like Ken Williams wrote a new book recently, and so I think people are probably buying those Tandy 1000s to play some of those early PC Junior games and things like that, is my guess.
Yeah. I mean, if people don't know, I don't only do Tandy stuff. I do other PC stuff, and people are regularly buying stuff from the XT up to the 486 or Pentium 100 era from me, and they're wanting to play vintage games in their proper platform with CRT monitors and everything. But I think with the Tandy 1000 is if you like Tandy's computers, but you want to wet your feet in the MS-DOS world, it's better to skip over the Tandy 2000 and even though I like the 2000, I still got mine.
Yeah, the ones that sell well, Mav is right, is the 1000 and the 3000. I've sold a couple like hotcakes. People are going like, when can I come and pick it up? They should, I don't care, it's dirty, I'll take it now.
Yeah, because you can buy any old box game, big box game, stick the disc in and they'll run. So and the sound's pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
okay. You still going, Quentin?
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
I still have a couple things. By the way, I still have my reservations for Tandy Assembly, but I'm thinking about possibly canceling and backing out. We'll see. Depends on how that curve keeps going for Springfield, Ohio. It's like exponential right now. And the last thing is, I think I mentioned this here last year. Back in 1994, I met Charles Guy, a founder of Cornsoft Group. Do people here know the Cornsoft Group, recognize it? He gave me his company's TRS-80s and a big bag full of cassettes and floppy disks, which was his company's corporate software archive. And I've gone through and ripped all the disks and cassettes and got them saved. But I ended up just this week running across a box of floppy disks, of 16 floppy disks that weren't with the rest of the bag for some reason. So these are unripped. I don't know what's on them. I'm very excited to find out. These disks have had the Cornsoft source code and some of his early prototype code for experimenting and such on it, on the disks that I already have looked into and cassettes. So I'm going to be really excited to see what got missed on those 16 other discs.
So reckon you'll get to it in the next month?
Yeah, more than likely in the next month.
Oh, cool. You can give us an update at Trash Talk 19.
Are you making these available like online somewhere?
Yeah, that's my intent, is eventually sort through them. I mean, I had 41 cassettes and now 27 floppy disks. Some of them are for the Coco. And so I don't really, not used to being able to read those and trying to figure what's all on them and such. Because like I said, they were his prototype development work. So there's pieces of fragments of code and such, and different versions and such. I'd like to try to eventually sort it out and post it on my GitHub site. The author, Charles Guy, when I found the bag, he gave me, back in '94, he gave me the bag. And I was interested in the hardware. When he gave me 3 TRS-80 Model 3s and a Model 4P, it's like, well, that's what I was really after. But he gave me this bag. It was like, nice, tossed it in the corner of my house, and then ran across it about 15 years ago. And I thought, well, gee, maybe he'd like this bag back. And so I looked him up. He died in 2004. And so it's like, well, and by the way, when he gave me the bag, he says, I don't care, do whatever you want with it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so, I like I said, I intended. There was another co-founder that's still in Indiana. I want to get a hold of him at some point once I figure out what all I got, to see whether or not he has any interest in it, or get him interviewed, find out some TRS-80 history out of him and such. I forget his name right off the top of my head.
Cool. Thanks, Quentin.
Sure.
That sounds really interesting. I always like, actually in the same boat, because I've obviously been acquiring TRS-80 gear from people who want to let go of it for since the 90s, in particular. And you get the hardware and get the boxes and boxes of discs, and it can be a long time before you go through them. And even now I pull out the odd disc box and find things that I thought I never had, and I've bought off eBay in the ensuing decades, and thought, turns out I already had a copy of that. That's do that all the time. So it's part of what makes this hobby so much fun. Thanks for that.
I was just looking at this before. You can't see it, it's blurred, but I was like stuff lying around. I'll blur me, sorry.
Yeah, that tape has been redacted.
Yeah, it's I would say that really quickly, man. In the console world, like if this was like an Atari 2600 game or something, like people be paying like big bucks for those prototypes. So it's too bad. Like when it comes to TRS-80, I mean, not that I want to sell them, but like we gotta be sure they're preserved at least, Quentin, because it's really awesome for people to look at these and be able to see like early prototypes, maybe some unreleased games, like who knows. So you gotta get them online somehow.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Stuart.
Yeah, there's even some software on there for a utility that I know he never released. Also, that's for music editing.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, Ken, how you going, buddy?
Hey, Mav, doing pretty good. Not doing too much. I've got a lot of projects, but I haven't made a whole lot of headway on them. I'm a ham, so I've been redoing my ham station. Get ready for the DX season, the winter months, and so. But I'll get back to it here pretty soon.
You want to just turn down your microphone level a tiny amount, maybe by 1/5 or something? You've got a little bit of booming happening in your voice, or just lean back from it.
Well, I'll just talk quieter. I really can't because it's an iPad, and so I don't have any control.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. It's great to see everybody.
You able to come to Tandy Assembly, or too far?
Yeah, it's too far.
No, maybe next year.
So
yeah.
Can I butt in for a second?
Go for it.
No.
So the ham radio thing was really big with TRS-80 aficionados. I don't understand it. I think a lot of us don't understand it. Can you just explain what it is and why?
Explain amateur radio from 1855 right through to 2021.
In 30 seconds.
In 500 words or less.
You know,
Not
I'm interested in understanding it, but I don't understand it.
Okay, I'll write something and I'll send you a DM on Discord. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, fine. But I wish you'd tell us all, you know, what it is.
We communicate. We communicate with the world. It's direct from A to B. There's no infrastructure. There's some of my equipment there. You know, we're gearheads. You know, so it's just another form of building stuff. And
you know,
it's
pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Just nobody ever explained it to us.
Yeah, it uses shortwave lengths to travel massive distances. That's what amateur radio is, as I understand. I used to do a little bit when I was a radio amateur on the 10-meter band with a few rigs there. As applied to computers, it's kind of its most popular application was RTTY, radio teletype, and most 8-bit computers had a project that you could put together for a RTTY modem, which would allow you to receive radio teletype, and it would display it on your computer. So and Radio Shack enthusiasts often came from a radio or EE background, so no wonder Tandy computers became popular with ham operators. What I always found interesting was that Tandy computers, particularly in the early days, were one of the worst emitters of EMI and RFI interference, which made them particularly badly suited to actually having them anywhere near your radio gear. But you know, there's
that's when they invented the chicken wire.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw that it was very popular with TRS-80 enthusiasts, but I never understood it.
Well, I'm an amateur, and I would second what Ken said. The magic of ham operating is that you can communicate such long distances with no infrastructure, just what you have plugged into the wall. To me, that's what's special about it to me.
And we talk to people all over the world, have conversations about radio or whatever. We do moon bounce. We bounce signals off the moon. We have our own satellites. It's, you know, it's pretty cool.
It is very interesting. I say that it is very interesting. I go along. We don't have many ham fests in Australia, but we do. When I do go along, I like them not so much for the radio gear, but for all the computer gear that the people have there that they're kind of wanting to offload, and all the electronic components. I'll often buy a lifetime supply of this component or that component, and get to talk to a lot of people. So, but yeah, it's called amateur radio, and it generally works at a 2-meter and a 10-meter frequency. Are the most popular ones. Would you say that, Ken?
Well, it depends on what parts you're in. I mean, we go from DC to light. So literally, there's a lot of guys are into microwaves. A lot of guys are into low frequencies. That would be like below the AM broadcast band. So different frequencies have different properties. So you know, I don't want to bore everybody, but you know, if you have any questions, email me.
You know, I still don't understand it, but I appreciate the explanation.
Interestingly enough, Wayne Green, the guy that founded Instant Software and also 80 Microcomputer magazine, he published like a whole bunch of ham radio magazines before that, including 73, which I think was a big one. So there was some kind of connection there, and I also don't know what it is, but there's definitely some kind of connection there.
Yeah, Wayne Green's history with amateur radio goes back to the 50s or something. So he was with it for a long time, and he was really pleased when computers came along because he could automate a lot of the manual tasks that early radio amateurs had to do. I mean, it's yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Ken. Hope you're doing well. Oh, well, okay. Hang on. What are you trying to show me?
I was just that's a screen, software defined radio, so that's a computer screen. Anyway, that's really all I've got. So, you guys, it's nice to see everybody.
Thanks, mate. We'll see you next month.
Good.
Hey, Val, how you going?
Hey, Zoom bombing. Good to see
Awesome.
you all.
All right,
Who's
Steve
going to
Burden.
pick?
Steve Burden. Nope, Lawrence.
Hey, Mav, everybody.
Hey, mate.
Definitely planning to be a TA. I'm looking forward to it. I was looking forward to meeting all you, but it sounds like I'm only going to meet like half or something.
You meet all the important people.
I've been working on the TRS-80 tools stuff, same stuff I've been working on, slowly improving things, working on floppy support. I just 2 minutes ago added just DOS 2.3 support and working on LDOS next. And Ira has been really helpful. He sends me cassettes that don't work, and then that helps the cassette decoding get better. I have a question. He sent me a couple cassettes that were, I think, level 1, which are like 250 baud, I think. And but they were all like 290 baud. Were they actually 290 at the time? Was it only like nominally 250, or was his cassette recorder the wrong speed? Does anybody know?
I recall that some of the early level 1 cassettes did have a different timing, and I can't remember why that was, if there was a change in the ROM or some kind of production problem. So it's a known issue. I think it really is supposed to be 250 baud, but there's a few of them, like the micro dash, whatever, micro marquee, and those ones. I think those are the ones that were different, but.
Huh. Okay. Because it's just enough out of spec for my reader to not recognize the bits, unless I change the baud rate to actually 290. Okay, that's good to know. Oh, and you were talking about VCF. So I just went to VCF West, and that was pretty good. I thought it was nearly as full as a regular year. It was maybe 20% less. So that was pretty nice to see. I expected it to be just decimated, but it was pretty good. There's no TRS-80 stuff at all. I think I saw one Model 100, and that was about it. Usually there's at least like a Model 1. I scored this, which I'm pretty thrilled about. It's good timing too, because I'm in the middle of reading all these floppies. Yeah, that's it for me.
So which VCF were you at?
This is the one at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View. So it's VCF West.
Okay. All right. How long ago was that?
Maybe a month.
Okay.
Yeah, a month or so.
Right. So the Midwest one's like a month later.
I don't know.
The East Coast one is like in 3 weeks or something in Jersey.
Yeah, Midwest just happened, and the East Coast is in 3-4 weeks.
3 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Lawrence, it sounds like next year you need to represent.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, set up a table.
Yeah,
for sure. I don't have any hardware, so it would all be virtual, unless you all want to ship me something.
Thanks for that, Lawrence. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month. We've got about 15 minutes to go. Have I gotten through everyone? Has anyone got anything that they wanted to mention? Put their hands up. Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hey,
I forgot you. Hey, buddy.
Hey, doing good. Thanks for including me. I've got a couple of things going on. I'm definitely coming to Tandy Assembly. So I've got 3 machines that are going to be in tow with me this time. I have a Model 3 and a Model 4, which I think I can get running again. The Model 3, I'm just playing with a few things. It's got a bad video board on it, and the Model 4 is non-gate array, dual drive, single power supply unit, and it's just the power supply is blowing out fuses. So I'm assuming that it's got a transformer or some kind of issue that's gone bad on it. But I'm kind of anxious to see. I know Jay's going to be there. I don't think he's online tonight.
I haven't seen him, but it was. I hope he gets there, because he was sort of up and down about whether to go. But Tandy Assembly without Jay Newirth is, it's not the same.
Well, I told my wife. I said basically I'm going to Ohio to go to J Mart, but but I got to pick up a few things from him. And his last discussion I had with him, he was going to meet me there, so I'm hoping that he makes it. So yeah, that's going on. The other thing is a more recent development. I think you may have seen some of this on Facebook, but a couple of weeks ago, a Model 16B showed up within my area that I could purchase, and I sort of entered the dark side, I guess, and went with a Model 2 variant, of which I am wholly ignorant. I don't need to explain to the folks here that the inside that box is a whole new world. So I'm going to need a lot of help with that. It's coming up, has a raster on the screen. Drives aren't firing on it. Hard drive sounds horrible. So I was kind of hoping if I tag that along, that I might find somebody there at Tandy Assembly that would have a few minutes to kind of give me some insight as to what's going on, and try to figure out and get this one working too.
Peter Satinsky will set up a whole table just for you and actually step you through the tear down and rebuild process, won't you, Peter?
Yeah, well, there'll be a few people there, Eric and myself and John. But I have a question for you, Bill. How much do you like pain?
Well, apparently I like pain. I did finish repairing a North Star Advantage. That was the most painful thing I've ever done.
Okay, well, get ready for double
So he likes pain and he's a masochist on top of it.
Yeah. We'll get you like a Model 2 or something. That'll really show you.
That'll learn me.
The other thing to do, if you're not already, is get on the Tandy Discord. There's a lot of people that will help you out there.
Right. Yeah, I'm new to that. Peter sent me the link to it, so I'm on there now. So
we just went through a 16B.
We all accept PayPal and Visa, so it's not a problem. We can help.
All right. Sounds great. I will need a keyboard of some kind. I hear there's replacements that I can get that will allow me to use a USB keyboard.
Yes.
Indeed, there is.
John. This weekend's going to pay for itself, isn't it, John?
Indeed.
See,
there you go, right there.
Now you're cutting into Jay's profits.
Excellent.
I was going to tell you that we just
Jay
went
doesn't
through
have that.
16B on the Discord under troubleshooting. So if you want to maybe read through that, you might get kind of an idea what you're in for.
Okay, where's that at now? It's on the Discord. It's
yeah. It's it was what was it, model 12 16 16B restoration. It's well, you'll know it when you see it.
Okay.
It's full of a bunch of technical stuff.
Well, I've had some fun. I've taken a good deal of it down and cleaned out all of the what was old foam. I'm sure you guys are aware. It turned out to be black sand by the time I found it.
Yeah.
But so I've been cleaning all that out. Found all the reefas that I could find in there and put new ones in. Because the person that sold it to me said it had smoked, and I was like, "Well, I'm pretty sure I know what that is." But apparently they had changed them out too. They didn't get all of them, but I've got that going so far. Now it's like I said, I turn it on, and I'm just not getting a lot of happy.
We'll help you get it going.
Yeah.
Well, I really do appreciate it. It'll be a fun one to see up and running. Like I said, it's a hard drive model, as you guys know. The hard drive is I imagine gone. One, it sounds well when it fires up, when it gets power, it sounds like a metal on a grinder. Which
That's not good.
and when I opened it up, the little motor in it had oil leaking out of it.
Also not good.
So I'm thinking
That's
maybe
nothing.
gone, but
you might get one good last read out of that hard drive, but don't know.
It's pretty rough. But
I've had drives with noisy bearings that even made me jump when I turn them on. But if I leave them running for like an hour or so, they sometimes
warm up.
quiet down.
They
But,
warm up.
I spent 20 years in the mass storage industry, and grinding sounds are not good.
No.
Grinding sound you hear is the sound of your bits being tossed out the window. Have a nice day.
Yes, but I'm also concerned, like I said, the floppy drive, which immediately on Facebook, everybody said, "Hey, this was that the TM848."
Yeah, the
everybody said,
legendary one.
"Ooh." They said, "Just walk
Well,
away."
you know, the cool thing is I'm not the only one who's totally screwed.
But
They're not all bad. I have a few TM848s that work like a dream, but the majority are problematic.
They're good for removing oxide.
Well, this one is not. It's not even doing a seek. I don't know. I know some Model 2s. My limited knowledge of Model 2s is that the 8-inch drives they run constantly on the earlier models. Is that not true of the 16?
That's on the 2, but not on the subsequent models.
You know,
Okay.
you know, there's two motors. There's the spindle motor and there's the stepper motor.
Right.
And sometimes one fails and sometimes the other one does.
Well, right now it looks like everything's failing because it's not doing a seek or anything. So it may not even be getting through its boot sequence.
I think there was some diagnostics on a similar one here about a month ago on the Discord. So when you do read through the Tandy 16 or the 16B restoration, they all don't go that bad. Okay, so don't let it scare you too bad.
No. To me, I guess I count as a masochist because I like the challenge. I like figuring it out. So.
What is it? It's a 16B. Bill is a 16B
approach.
I'm sorry?
That's the proper approach.
Okay. Mav,
Bill, it's a 16B, isn't it?
Yes, it's a 16B.
Pull all the cards out except the video card and unplug the hard drive and the floppy drive and everything and see if something wakes up on the screen.
No, leave the floppy drive connected. You need that to keep the power supply regulation intact.
Okay. Do what Paul
said about that. Yeah.
Okay. So power supply, video card, and
don't need any other cards.
At least one floppy.
At least one floppy. Okay.
Yeah, and you don't have to have it connected. Just to have the power on there because the power supplies on those things don't regulate well unless there's a 24-volt load.
Yeah. Okay. And like I said, I'm not sure that floppy drive is. When it came to me, it was unplugged, and I'm not sure that didn't get plugged in backwards by the last guy. If that's possible.
Yeah, that won't kill it. I don't
really.
Think. The drive cable, the 50-pin drive cable backwards won't kill it.
Oh no, I'm talking about the power connector backwards.
You can't get it backwards there.
You can't get it backwards. It's not a keyway.
It's all open. It's all open collector. You can't hurt it.
Okay.
Well, if he's talking about the power
both
is
both ends only pull low. You can't hurt it.
Okay.
Get frustrated, download TRS-80 GP and run Xenix.
Yeah,
that 8-inch power.
That'll work.
If you really won't try to force it, I think you can get it reversed because I think I did that once.
Hey Pete, can't really hear you. You turn it up a bit, please.
I was saying that you can't hear me.
No.
Oh. I don't know. Something wrong.
I can hear you now. It sounded like you were mumbling before. It was probably the beard.
Yeah, he mumbles all the time.
Yeah. Let me make a room here. Yeah. How's that?
So yeah, bring a bunch of spare parts to Tandy Assembly to try and work out what's going on with Bill's rig. How's that sound?
He's like freaking Santa Claus.
Hey, if he brings spare parts that makes my 16B work, I'll call him Santa Claus.
I get called Santa Claus.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay. All right. 5 minutes to go. Anyone else got anything to say quickly before we wind this thing up?
What are you doing, Mav? We don't hear from you as much because you mostly don't do the recorded trash talks anymore. What's going on?
Just in a funk, minor depression with lockdown. I was saying today that we've had in Melbourne 231 days as of today in lockdown. So that does a pretty good job of destroying your soul spirit. So that's what it's like here at the moment. Well, it's interesting. I'm not as prevalent online as much in the forums or the Discord as much anymore, but I'm sort of building and producing as much stuff as always. So the word is at least getting out there, and people are contacting me to buy stuff. My eBay shop is doing reasonably well, and my main sort of publicity is, as you know, the Tandy Assembly. So that was can't wait to get back to that thing. But other than that, I just sort of get up each day, warm up the soldering iron, build stuff, pack it, send it, and repeat the next day until they say we can drive further than 5 kilometers from our homes, which is looking like.
What's the current shipping from Australia to the US now?
It's actually come pretty good. I've sent a few things out recently, and they've been getting there in under 3 weeks, so it's not bad. Previously, it would be on a really good trip, 10 days from Melbourne to the United States, typically 14 and occasionally 21, but now we're back to 21. But things going up the road to Canada are still taking 4 to 5 weeks, and other countries, particularly European ones, are still up at 5 or 6, just due to the low volumes of stuff in general being sent from Australia. They just stockpile it here until there's enough to put in a crate.
And it's the weirdest thing, because I sent stuff to Europe from Texas and it takes a week and a half. I sent something to Australia, like I sent something to Aaron. It took like close to 60 days to get to him. I sent him a book. And it's sat in Japan for like 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks in Chicago and 2 weeks in Sydney. That one, it took
my stuff sits in South Dakota for like a week. But let me just say one thing. Ian and the other Australians, we're going to miss you.
The feeling's mutual. I'm going to miss you guys. I can't believe that there's a Tandy Assembly. Those who know me I was, approached at the time the first one is announced in 2017, and I said, yeah, I'll definitely make it. And I think the fact that there was a little bit of international inclusion in the event helped grow it to what it's been. So it's a shame that I can't be there.
We're also going to miss the Canadians. I mean, Neil, he was one of my crew.
Yeah. I bet he would be there if you're allowed to drive over the border. We've got that ridiculous law at the moment where you may fly between the US and Canada, but you can't get in your car and drive over the border and back.
I hope he gives it a try anyway, because it's not going to be the same without Neil.
No, that's true.
The last I talked to him, he didn't rule it out completely. He said he was going to try. So
hey, Mav, how's your son handling not being able to come down? Because I know he was really hyped in 2019.
Well, he likes to travel anywhere. I mean, he's young and he wants to get as much traveling done as possible. So he's looking forward to next year. I mean, he was sort of bummed when 2020 Tandy Assembly was cancelled altogether, and we both watched the daily news, which shows the state of how things are going. But we've actually got a proper in Australia, a proper plan in place and a date that international travel will resume, which is December 18 this year. But that's too late for anything. So we're just really got to make our plans for next year. And on that, I think we're done. That's 2 hours. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Have a good one, everyone.
Take care, and we'll see you this time next month. You can tell us all about the fun and shenanigans that went down at the Tandy Assembly. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Bye. Take care, Mav.
Hi, George.
I'm surprised no one's pulled the plug.
Well, I think it's because Pete's doing it from his phone.